dedication, and unyielding commitment to victory by any means necessary. It is in the honor of our Creator, our ancestors, our children, and their children that we pour this libation. For the Creator and the various manifestations of the creative spirit, we pour libation ashe for our esteemed ancestors who laid the foundation for human civilization and who provided the wisdom by which we live and the models by which our lives are guided. We pour libation ashe for our esteemed ancestors who have suffered the atrocities and horrors of Mafa and yet demonstrated the victorious power of the African spirit against adversity by maintaining their dignity no matter the cost. We pour libation ashe for those ancestors who survived and made it possible for us to be here today, to continue on their valiant struggle for African liberation and vindication. We pour libations ashe and finally for our children, their children, and future generations of Africans to come, that they too in their time will vindicate our race from all adversaries and continue to imprint upon the world the great genius of African humanity. We pour libations ashe for this opportunity to present to our people the Black Sustainability Online Summit. We hope that we will gain knowledge from each other as we move forward for the liberation of our people. Ashe.
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 Ashe. Oh.
Ashe. Oh.
Ashe. Oh. Madasi, Mama Nobantu, it is a pleasure to have you back with us, loud and clear. We are very, very much so grateful to have you not only present for the second year, but to be an integral piece of the Black Sustainability Summit's manifestation. This could not have happened without you, and we give thanks. I would like to have you introduce yourself to those who do not know very briefly, and then we can open it up for a light discussion on some of the things that you wanted to add to the presentation from last year, and then we can open it up for questions after that. Does that work for you?
Yes, I see I no longer have a camera, but at least you hear my voice. I'm trying to get back on. My camera has my computer froze up. Okay, again, my name is Nobantu Ankoanda. I am an educator for the last 45 years, and I'm a mother of 5 adult children and about 9 grandchildren. And I've been teaching African-centered education through those 45 years with the hope that our children will learn more about who they are as a people and will learn to help us as we move forward to liberate ourselves from the toxic communities that we live in. I have always had an interest since when I'm from California, and I used to take my children to a black town called Allensworth. I don't know if many of you on this presentation know about Allensworth, but it was a black town that was founded early 1800s by Colonel Allensworth. And to this day, you can still go there because they have renovated it, and the old schoolhouse is still there. The house that Colonel Allensworth lived and his wife is still there. And the little hotel where I used to take my students, we stayed in the hotel or we would camp outside. It's a beautiful little town. And we had the opportunity to meet an elder. She was 105 at the time, and we had a chance to go to her house in Oakland, California, and interview her. And one of the things she did was amazing to us. She was able to recite poems that she had learned from that school in Allensworth. Right soon after that, I met a gentleman who wrote a book about the black towns, the black settlements. Black towns and settlements, and he was also inspired by going to Allensworth and decided to write a book about it. And he went through 50 different states and identified black townships in each state. And it was volume 1, and he had planned to do volume 2, but I think he has some health issues in the family and himself as well. So I don't know if we'll see volume 2, but maybe someone will continue with more information about these various black townships throughout the United States. So this presentation I have presented to you has captured a few of those towns. Some of the ones that many of you may know about, like Rosewood and the Black Wall Street in Oklahoma, is not on this presentation. But if you Googled it, you'll find a lot of information concerning it. And I was very interested when I met the previous presenter before me, Kevin Allen, who had done the documentary on Haiti, which was also listed in the book Black Towns and Settlements by Morris Turner. And so I was very inspired by him being willing to come forward and talk about Haiti. And what I learned from him is that in Haiti there were a lot more businesses and more things going on there than even in Wall Street in Oklahoma. And I was really intrigued by the fact that here is another town that has even more businesses and churches and people building their own homes and growing their own food. And the whole purpose for me wanting to do this presentation was to let young people know, and maybe some of the older folks who did not know, that we always had sustainable towns at the time when we had no choice, because they didn't want us in their midst. So we created our own, and we were quite successful in doing it. And some of the white folks around these little towns became very jealous about how prosperous our little towns were, and they would do things to destroy it. In Allensworth, they put cyanide in the water, and it eventually drove a lot of people away from Allensworth, because you have to have water. And recently, even with the new renovation of the town, they tried to put a milk factory next to Allensworth, which would have kept a lot of people away. Because I don't know if you know anything about these milk factories and the cows. The stench is so horrible, you can't. It's almost unbearable. And to have a milk dairy farm right next to Allensworth would have destroyed the whole effort of keeping Allensworth alive by um, people coming there. I mean, even today they have big celebrations. I think every October, people come from all over California and different parts of the country to celebrate Allensworth. And as I don't know if you were able to look through all the presentation of the other little towns and find there's different reasons why these towns were destroyed, either by fire, poison, um, you know, sometimes they were sued for various different things. And as a result, a lot of them are no longer. So, but today it seems to me that we're at the point where Harriet Tubman said some time ago, when she was um, freeing up all those enslaved people, and that if you didn't know you were a slave, you couldn't be liberated. And that was one of the problems, because a lot of folks were very um, content with where they were, and maybe they feared moving forward, which is what's happening today. A lot of folks are very complacent in their homes, but even though the brutality and the toxic things that go in our community, um, they don't say a whole lot, and then some of us do. Like Black Lives Matter and a lot of demonstrations going on. But the result of all that, or where do we go from that to here? And as I see it, I think that we need to have our own communities again. We need to go back to growing our own food. And if you've had a chance to view a lot of these presentations of people on the summit, people are doing that quietly. They're not talking a whole lot about it, but they're actually growing their own food. They're off the grid. And I look forward to the day where I will not have to pay a gas bill, a water bill, or electric bill. I totally want to be off the grid, growing my own food, and building our own institutions. And as an educator, that's why I see myself building African-centered educational institutions in these sustainable communities. And eventually, we will have the sovereign nation that we need. So I don't know if I need to say any more. If there's any questions, I'm open right now. anybody hearing me?
So, yes, we can hear you. If anyone has questions at this point or wants to speak, you can unmute your microphone. I think if you dialed in, then it's *6, and then I think *6 to remute it. Go ahead. I can unmute all microphones now, and you all can remute them if you do not have questions.
Mipaucho, Mama Nobantu, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
This is Ina in Judaica, and wow, your last paragraph in your presentation was complete music to my ears. I'm extremely excited to hear, what your ambitions are, what your goals are. They pretty much mimic or parallel mine. It's really gratifying to know that many years of your research, I'm sure that you have studied the challenges. And in fact, it's come out in your presentation. You've studied the victories, and it's extremely important. You've also brought out the problems that were that was within our people that made us vulnerable to destruction. And just like Nana Chancellor Williams, his book, The Destruction of Black Civilization, that was definitely a Sankofa book to help us identify our enemy as well as recognize problems within. But then his companion book, the one that came out afterwards, that he gave solutions. I'm sure that you could write volumes, but even more importantly, I would like to hear more about, I suppose, more of your wisdom or suggestions as well. You know what? Honestly, I would love to hear more about your plans honestly, because now for me, and it may be happening with other individuals, but I'm really in the nitty-gritties right now. I need the specifics. My worldview is solid. I'm well aware of the challenges, but certainly open to understanding more of our issues that drive us in the wrong direction. But I also especially need the nitty-gritty, the how-tos, the who's, the wheres, in terms of getting it done. So, for example, I understand what your intentions are. Are you going to move around to various intentional communities, plant the seed, so to speak, and help it germinate, and or land someplace solid yourself and just make it germinate right where you land? What are your plans for that?
Very similar. If you heard Brother DJ's presentation yesterday, and his suggestion was that we go and look at some of the sustainable communities already in existence, and make a decision as to which sustainable community you like to live in, whether it's here in the African diaspora in the United States, Belize, or in on this side, or also on the continent. And so that was his advice, and that's the advice. I mean, that's basically what I've been trying to do anyway. I know, sister. Why am I drawing a blank on my co-coordinator's name? Raina. She has already done a lot of this, have gone to a lot of sustainable communities. And a couple of weeks ago, I went down to Alabama and was able to observe the land that Sister Muja has put together in Alabama. It's a beautiful piece of property, nice, huge lake, beautiful virgin land all around it, and her visions are very good. And then there's another presentation that's coming up later today around 6 o'clock. There's a place called Utah in Alabama, and they've been around for a while. They actually are growing food. They've built homes, and I think they're church based a little bit, but they're very, very interested in sharing what they have learned and experiences they've had in building their community. So so what I see myself doing right now is observing and viewing various different communities, getting out of debt so I can live in a sustainable community myself. Um, I know my family has land in Texas that nobody's doing anything with. I just need to go and determine whether there's enough water on the land to actually uh, build a community there, because water is so much, it's so important. So that's my vision, and to continue with this summit to let people know so the dots can be connected between those folks who are interested, those who are already doing it with those who have been doing it as well, so they can learn from each other. So I'm looking forward to next year when we'll be offline as well as online, where we can actually gather more information and maybe plan as a community which direction we want to go, which sustainable community we want to be a part of. Does that answer your question?
That's part of it. Yes, ma'am. So it sounds like you want to pretty much remain within the States as opposed to moving abroad for now.
Not necessarily, because Sister Dr. Uwa was here on our presentation yesterday. My grandson is, I don't have food right now. In a minute, I'll get to you. She in Nigeria next year, 2018. I plan to go to Nigeria and observe the land that's there that they're actually giving away, because it's their feeling that we are their ancestors, and therefore there's no reason why we should come to Nigeria and have to purchase land. That the land is available to us, and the only thing that's necessary is that we work the land and utilize the people who live around the land to work whatever business we create on that land. And for me, I want to see land for the next generation, my grandchildren, their children, and so forth on and so forth. Because my vision is that eventually a lot of us will return to motherland and build our sustainable communities and work with the people that are there. It's a lot of work to make that happen, but I think that I just visualize that it's going to happen.
Ashe, ashe. Give thanks.
Give thanks.
Good morning. This is Hope or Rachel from Dallas. Definitely when you come to Texas to see your land, I definitely would like to be a part of that and go with you. I have ancestral land between Giddings and Elgin, Texas. It was between Austin and Houston. My family originally had 200 acres, and we have about 50 acres now of land there. So I definitely would like to help you if you in any way if you'd like.
Right.
I don't know how Dallas your land is at all, but just offering my help.
Right. I think when I go I usually have to fly into Dallas and then drive. It's a little town called Hooks, Texas, right on the borderline of Texarkana. And of course, I have to deal with it's a lot of heirs on the land, and eventually, and I think that's the case with a lot of families who have land in the South, and there's a lot of heirs, and it becomes a problem when the heirs can't come together. You buy them off or whatever because they just want that little piece of money and be on their way. But
I know all about.
Go ahead.
And I know all about that, and I also have a conscious attorney here who is actually helping families and also helping those jurisdictions where the whites are illegally taking our people's land. Saying that they owe taxes and making up different things to take back our people's land, especially in East Texas. He's dedicated to making sure that Black families keep their land. So if you need his assistance also.
I most definitely would love to have that information because I want to take a trip there and take a look at the land and find out what the possibilities are. I don't know how much land it is, but I know that little town of Hooks, Texas is made up of a lot of my cousins and family members. So, yes.
Now, and the taxes are paid. Do you know?
Yeah, I have a cousin that's paying the taxes. In fact, about five years ago, the land came up and they were talking about selling it, and I said, well, what is the advantage and disadvantage of selling it? And of course, they say I'm the black sheep of the family because I'm always asking questions. And so they didn't do anything because I was opposed to selling the land. I said, no, we don't need to sell the land. We need to hold on to this land. In fact, we can build a resort here for our family unions every year. We don't have to go to these hotels and pay all this money. We can come and have our own place where we can have our reunions right here on the land of our ancestors.
Exactly. So much of our family don't have that mindset, but we definitely would be in touch. But my question was, um, in some of the townships that did endure desegregation, I mean, I know a lot of them were destroyed before integration, desegregation, whatever you want to call it. For the towns that did endure that, what did you see were the factors where it did endure desegregation? Because a lot of I see in studying a lot of communities, and I'm a city planner, also by the way, and studied the Black metropolis. When we got out of segregation, a lot of times people felt, moving up. I mean, and that's to me one of the problems with the civil rights theory,
I agree.
rhetoric, is that we didn't value our own communities as much as integrating. So people saw it as moving up when we moved into a white neighborhood or were able to move out. So I
right.
how
Yeah, that happened to. There was a town in. There's another town I think is in Mississippi, started by 5 families about 40 years ago. It's an Islamic community, and they said that when the children left and went to college, a lot of them didn't come back. They went on to these big beautiful homes and fine cars and what have you. And so there's something that has to be done to keep the youth there and give them the mindset about the necessity of having our own communities. And I think that has to be built through education with the African-centered schools all over the country. We don't have as many we used to have 20 years ago, but there's still quite a few that are existing. In fact, I consult with one right now since I moved from California. And in fact, there's quite a few, and I'm going to be meeting with several administrators tomorrow to try to do a collaboration around curriculum, around staffing, and all kinds of different areas that we can work together collaboratively. But the curriculum is essential to the children, to the next generation, to understand how important it is for us to build on communities, to be entrepreneurs, and what have you.
Give thanks, Mama Nobantu. I have to interrupt at this time. It is 11:33.
Okay.
If anybody has any final questions, I see that we have Queen Thais also on the line, who is our next presenter. And I want to make sure that we're respectful of each person's time. I know we got started a bit
Black
late.
Sustainability Summit.
Yes, Brother Edward, you have a few questions?
Nope.
All right. Is there anyone else who has questions for Mama Nobantu? If you have any further questions, Mama Nobantu, would you let them know how they could reach you?
Yes, they can reach me on my email, which is ankoanda77@gmail.com, or they can call me directly at 650-766-5663.
Thank you.
Tell everybody. I just want to throw one little campaign. I have the Collard Green Festival coming up September 23rd, which we have a sustainable pavilion there. We have a wellness pavilion. We have children's sproutland. We have lots of entertainment and great food and plenty of collard greens. And
collard green ice cream. Yeah.
Yes.
Shameless plug. Okay, well, we give thanks. I'm going to stop the recording now. In the interim, you all can still talk, and I'm going to get it set up, and I will do another introduction for Queen Thais.
What